Hey everyone, Handkerchief Gal here. I just want to share with you guys a little bit about etymology. It is the last of the spelling. Ninth grade you do etymology. This is like the syllabus. So the first page you want your kids to read out loud. You want to make sure they can pronounce all of the words. They read their goals, which is basically what they're going to do in this book. In ninth grade they look up their scripture verse and write it down, and then they'll memorize that throughout the pace. It gives the scripture verse up here. And then usually the supervisor, which is you, would read this to them. They can read it, whatever. And then you sign the page saying, yes, they completed this, they read it to me. On the next page, and after every checkup, is vocab words. These they need to say to you. You can have them do the definition, which they write on the blank, or we just have them spell it in this, but we do have them do the definitions in social studies and science. When all my kids were younger, I actually had them do the definitions in word building as well, because I had one kid that was having a really hard time knowing what words meant. It was before they became a really more advanced reader, and so once they kind of figured out what words meant, we kind of pulled back just to take something off of our plate. So as you go along, it has prefixes and suffixes. This is in etymology, it's not in the other subjects as much, but this you want them to say. So you give them the prefix and they give you the definition. And throughout this they have to match those, so if they memorize that and say it to you, it's going to give them a really good foundation for everything that they're going to be tested on. On this page it's going to build on that with the suffixes and prefixes, and then it's going to give you a word that you have to write in here, and that they need to tell you what that means. Again, this is etymology, it's talking about where words came from, and it's going to really make a lot more sense if they know what the words mean. And just having them say those definitions, which they'll just say from memory, will really help them in the long run. One thing I really want to share with you guys is the wise sayings. Okay, so the wise sayings, this is in all of word building, and it has like the long I sound can be spelled I, E, I, Y, or A, I, and then it has a wise saying that has all those spelling words in it. So it says little things: a blue sky, sky has the Y sound; a bridle, that has the I, isle, that's the AI; heightened joy and trial, herein lies God's smile. So it's like a little saying that you never need to know outside etymology, outside ACE etymology, I should say. But it does help you know all the different ways to spell it, and that's what they're trying to do. Here's the thing, I don't remember any of these. I don't know that I can rattle off a single way that the long I sound is spelt, except for just from life experience. It's spelled it's spelled, all these different ones. But these wise sayings didn't actually help me in real life. But what it did help me is that by memorizing them and having to regurgitate them and write them down and know them for the test, that there are some things that might not be super beneficial to me, but I want to do them because I've been assigned them and I'm supposed to do them. So I would really encourage you, make your kids say this up here, have them write it down. They have to know it for the checkup, they have to know it for the self-test, they have to know it for the PACE test. It's not necessarily going to help them immensely in real life, but first of all, they learn that they can memorize things that maybe don't seem that important, and that's really valuable in life. Second of all, it's going to teach them that sometimes you do things that don't make sense. In God's kingdom, God will ask us to do things, to pick up people, to pour into somebody's life that maybe it doesn't make sense, but it's important, and it's so important to be able to listen to God's voice. Their boss might ask them to do something someday that in the long run it doesn't seem like it's going to benefit anyone, but they'll get fired if they don't obey their boss. So there's really good principles that are taught when you do some things in your curriculum that maybe aren't the most helpful thing, but you're teaching your kids, hey, this is an assignment you need to obey. There's so many free thinkers out there that are like, well, this doesn't make sense, so I'm not going to do it. And it's just not helpful for them. It's not helpful for the people above them. Nobody learns from it, and it just ends up causing a lot of ruckus. So just an encouragement to you guys that as you go along, and there might be something in the AC curriculum that's just like, I don't know that this is helpful. Some things you can adapt, but there's other, like, don't change everything just to make it easier for your kids. On this, they do have to write down those wise sayings, and it's all the way on the self-test too. I also wanted to mention that on the test, on the checkup, there's these words at the top. It says to write them 3 times. I've seen different people do different things with this. At our school, the teachers would come by and they'd say all of them to us, and we'd write it down on a piece of paper. If we missed it, then we wrote it 3 times. Another mom had her kids write down every single word that is in this pace, the vocab words in this pace. They had to write that down every single day. So on Monday they'd write down this whole list, on Tuesday they'd write down this whole list, on Wednesday, and that's how they started succeeding and excelling at spelling. That would work. That would annoy me to no end, because there would be no, I like a price. Like on this, I have my kids just orally say it to me. If they miss one, they have to write it 3 times. So for me, that gives a award if they say it. I don't have them do it every day. It's just on the checkups. And then by the time they get to the self-test, they've already spelled the words to me at least 1 time. No, twice, because they do it in the vocab. And so they've already had these words in the text, and they've already spelled it to me several times, and then they do it here and spell it to me. Or we use Spelling City, which is a free, well, the part we use of it is free, and it has the self-test and the pace test and the checkups on there. So if I'm busy, they can do that, and I don't have to sit there and give words, because that was really overwhelming for a little while when everybody had word building, and I was having to give like 4 word building spelling tests a day. I tried to do them all at once, and that was a disaster. So Spelling City is a huge help in that area. So that's etymology for you, if you wanted a little bit inside look at that, and I hope this video helps all of you guys.